I am so excited, everybody, because today I have Chrissy Costanza with me today. Gamer, incredibly talented singer, and now you have a featured solo with Soken over on Final Fantasy XIV. How does that feel?
I mean, it's like the coolest thing in the world. It's really surreal because I've been in music my whole life, but I've also been a gamer my whole life. And you just hear what those legendary names, it's almost like not even real people. And it's like talking about God as if he's a person. You know what I mean? It's like, this is an entity, you know? It's like, it's not someone you can meet in real life, much less like be on a Zoom with talking about the song you're going to record. And you're like, holy moly. It's such a crazy thing to say.
I want to sit down and listen to it with you because I actually haven't heard it in game yet, but I did listen to it today. And first of all, we have a lot to discuss from a technical standpoint that everyone's going to be like, what are they talking about? But I need to know.
Okay.
But, how did this all go down? Like, obviously you're a fan. Have you been playing Final Fantasy XIV and stuff?
So I actually haven't. I've watched a lot of Final Fantasy XIV content, and I'm going to play now. I'm going to do a playthrough on stream. I love MMOs though, and it was just I hadn't started it yet because obviously whenever you start an MMO, you have to say goodbye to all your friends, family, and loved ones.
For at least 500 hours.
Yeah, for at least 500 hours. And I'm like, I don't go 1 inch deep. I go like miles deep. So I've just watched so much content for years. So I'm excited now to kind of have like this reason where I can legitimately say, well, I have a really good reason to do this, everybody. So you can't get upset at me for disappearing from all of your lives. But I want to play it on stream and have also, I love, like in my stream, we do a lot of backseating because I just think it's fun and interactive. I know some people don't like it, and just have chat be able to kind of like drive a little bit and be like, you should go here and you should go there and you should do this.
Yeah, and the 14 community will be happily driving the seat with you, be in the driver's seat with you, which is really fun. I mean, it's a great community, and man, you have so much to enjoy. I'm a little jealous actually, having played like some 500, 600, 700 hours. It got me through opera school for sure, and
that's so
now
cool.
It's fun to play now. But we'll keep talking. But why don't we go ahead and listen to this first?
Tonight our city bleeds.
That's freaking great, bro. Like, you sound amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I have to say, like, it's really amazing because when I hear you speak, you have like this beautiful like soprano, like, you know, your voice is pitched in a certain range, and then you like come out here with this like warm tone, and you're just like belting with this like full sound, and it I have to ask, like, what's it like for you to, especially in the upper register in that chorus, like what does it feel like for you, like, to engage? This is extremely nerdy singer talk now, so you are warned, everyone watching this. Like, how does it feel for you to like to sort of pop up there, especially in the upper register? Is that something that you're using your whole body for? Do you feel it in your throat mostly? Like, what's your process for accessing that upper register?
So it's funny you say that. I actually started as a soprano when I was in chorus and all that, in theater and everything when I was younger. So I was a soprano one. And I was like, I cannot belt. So in my head, I'm like, I could never do that. I could never have that belting range. You know, you always get those really impressive altos that have those high belts. And I was couldn't be me. Could never be me. And then I joined a rock band, and you know, it slowly got higher and higher and higher. And I started training with some like amazing vocal coaches. But yeah, in that place for me, it's as open as possible. Like larynx is down. So it's just like I'm trying to get my larynx into my sternum if I could, you know, and it's just as much space as possible, like getting your back open, getting like your ribs open, like in your back, in your front, everything. And kind of just like also just that push down to give as much space in I'm a small person, as much space in your abdomen as possible, and just kind of trying to have it like flip up into the mask without losing too much of that.
You sound like you've had some classical training, huh?
Only a little bit, but that actually a lot came from my vocal coach that I only started working with once I was, you know, in a rock band and trying to belt higher and be able to sing more and sustain and not get sick or sing through sickness. I get sick like it's nobody's business. So being able to sing through it. And then I had a pre-nodule like 6-7 years ago, something like that, and I got terrified, and so I really went hard in the paint, and then that went away, luckily. And so and I just trained up really hard, so now I can usually sing through like pretty much almost any sickness or anything until it gets real bad, you know,
like punches you in the face. It's such an interesting thing about, especially when you talk about pre-nodules and stuff, because sometimes those things actually, so many people don't even realize that they might have an issue in their vocal folds, and then they like are singing and actually, like, if they were to remove those things, sometimes it would actually like ruin the soundscape, you know.
That's actually something I've been dealing with now, because I have a really deviated septum, like severely deviated, where my left side is almost entirely closed. And I've been recommended by my ENT, who's amazing, by the way, does a lot of like famous vocalists and whatever, and he's kind of like, you know, you really should get that surgically fixed. And like, if you've ever tried those like nose strips that like open up your nose, like the breathe rights, putting those on and then singing with those on, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, no wonder I had so much like trouble getting up into the nasal cavity before. I had it's there because I literally was closed. I was like, what are you talking about? How do I get there? But I'm so worried about that because I've now gone almost 30 years singing this way. I'm like, I don't know. Like, if I change it now, it might not. I've now learned to sing this way, so I'm worried like it could be amazing, but like also could it destroy things?
You have to adjust, and there definitely would be an adjustment period for sure. It's really impressive. What I really find interesting is that this isn't the first piece that you've sung with this sort of anthemic. I know, obviously, Legends with or what's it called? Is that what it's called? Legends?
Legends Never Die.
Yeah. Legends. Well, first of all, I love that piece, and I feature a lot of League of Legends on this channel, and that one is. But what's really incredible to me is that in both instances, not to deviate too far from this, these anthemic pieces are pretty like sharp in the rhythm. And my question to you is, what's your preference? Do you like this like sharp sort of like ba 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 ba, or do you like a sort of legato line where you can kind of, you know, go somewhere with the line rather than more like this proclaimed sort of soundscape, if that makes sense?
I think it depends on the song. Honestly, it's just what serves that song. I will say timing was never my strong suit. It's a miracle I'm a musician. It's really a miracle.
I relate. Yeah.
I remember being in the studio for like our second song ever or something like that, and just being completely decimated by trying to figure out how to sing a triplet. Just really, and now I love them. You know, it's one of those things.
Triplets are amazing.
Yeah, they're the best things ever. I'm now obsessed with them somehow. Like, you know, this is also like 13 years ago, something like that. So, but timing was never my thing. So I think sometimes it just depends if it's kind of those like odd syncopations that are a little like catch you off guard. It's just a little bit extra thinking. And especially if it contributes so much to like the delivery and the way the song feels, you don't want to then get it wrong in the live performances later. So sometimes there's just that little bit extra like anxiety around it, but I don't dislike it at all. I still think that it really depends on what you're saying. You know, sometimes I really believe in whatever delivers the message of the song. I think the best songs, you can feel the meaning without any vocals. You can feel the meaning without any music. You can feel the meaning without any words. If I was just humming the melody to you or you know, going with the beat, like you should kind of feel what it feels like. That all kind of contributes to that. So yeah, I don't really have a preference. I'm just probably not stronger at the more.
Yeah, sure. So speaking of that, obviously, like, you know, these songs, what was the sort of process? Was this song already written and you sort of collaborated with Soken? Was the song finished? Like, what was the sort of process? Where did you come into the process for this?
The song was written, so I received a demo like of the music from Soken and Square Enix. There actually wasn't a demo vocal at first. It was a piano, just kind of playing through the melody.
Yeah.
But and then I kind of asked, I was like, hey, do you mind sending someone on your side kind of giving me a demo vocal, because I just wanted to make sure the piano was there was no sustain on it, so I couldn't tell when notes wanted to be held out or not.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So, and because I was on tour at the time, and you know, with the time zones between Japan and where I was in Europe, and then my team in Pacific time zone, I didn't want to record and get it wrong because I was recording mobile in like hotels and green rooms and stuff. So then they sent a demo vocal through. But then when it came to the actual delivery, the demo vocalist, I think they said was someone just like in the office that they just had sing, you know, like kind of like sing lightly, just to show where the syllables would hit and things like that. And then they kind of gave me a lot of free reign in delivery wise, because, you know, they said, they're like, no, we love your voice, and there's a reason we wanted you on this project. You know, you're on this song, like your voice and your tone, and kind of go for it. I over recorded. I sent them, you know, we edited the vocals on my side and sent them through like, you know, master takes, but I had over recorded on purpose just in case that wasn't the right thing, that we could go back and like try different combinations of comps. So I tried to sing a bunch of different takes that were more stylized, more like simple and plain through, more emotional, just adding little like flares here and there, and just to make sure that I had lots and lots of things, because I was literally on tour while it was happening. So I didn't have the luxury of just being able to like turn to my mic right here and record.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that's the hard part. I mean, do you feel like this type of music, or obviously it's a bit different from Against the Current or even your solo stuff that you're working on, but like, do you feel like you sort of fell into this really easily, or was there a bit of an adjustment period for when you were delivering and learning the piece in terms of the style?
I guess there's an adjustment period in terms of the thing that's always most important to me about any collaboration. And this is, you know, it can be with a game like this, or it could even be just featuring on someone else's track or whatever it is just making sure that you keep in mind who's going to be listening to it and who you're collaborating with, and respecting their vision and making sure you're upholding their vision. Even though it's my voice, I'm not coming in for them to be like, oh, it's Chrissy, it's this character in the game, it's this franchise, it's this world, it's Soken, it's Square Enix, it's, you know, there's so many other people that this track represents. So I can't just go in and be like, I'm just going to be Chrissy and just do exactly what Chrissy wants to do. It's you have to represent the whole. And I think that's the biggest difference. Whereas if when I go in with Against the Current, or if I go in for my solo project, it's my thing. So I can just kind of do what I think is best and do what I want to do and the way I want to hear myself.
For sure. But it is nice that they gave you a lot of freedom to be able to, like, you know, be the vocalist. Oftentimes it's totally. It's a funny thing because, you know, in my experience with opera, I often felt like I was actually like the last in the room to have an opinion. And it can be hard because, you know, we're creatives and like ultimately, like, we also are vehicles for expression. And what we want is for people to connect with and understand not only the lyrics, but also how we're singing and when we're singing and all this other stuff. So it's nice at least that, you know, you were a part of the process rather than not necessarily like, all right, get it done. You know what I mean? Like, at least you were involved in that.
And it was nice too, because even from our initial call, they gave me a lot of context about the raid and about the boss and, you know, their backstory and the fact that she doesn't know she's the villain, right? Like she's, because I was kind of asking about, is it an evil-ish kind of delivery? Is it kind of like, I'm the villain? It's like, well, this person actually doesn't know they're the villain. They think, and you listen to some of the lyrics and they're almost kind of sad. Pretty, like really sad, really emotional. She's like, I look out, there's like 1,000 little girls and they're all me. And you're like, oh my God. Like, you know, it really gets you through the chest. But that could be taken different ways. That could be like, I see all these little girls and they're all me. Or it could be like, I see all these little girls and it's all me. And I've got to fight for them, you know? So it's just, I'm going through that and trying to figure out. And I do think part of that is fun, even if you're playing another character or representing other people. It's you're playing that character through yourself. And a really great piece of advice I got, because I always say I'm a bad actress. But my friend who's an actor, great piece of advice I got from him was just because I was like, oh yeah, you're an actor. You're good at like, you know, playing other people. Like I'm really bad at that. I have my face says everything all of the time. And he's like, no, it's like the best actors, they're just finding themselves in all of these characters. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So in this, it was just finding, you know, where you connect with this character. And then all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier and it does feel like yourself.
Do you get to do that a lot in your songs? Are you stepping into someone else's shoes, or do you feel like you're mostly speaking from, you know, Chrissy's point of view, or was this a special situation where you were like playing a character essentially?
Yeah, this was pretty unique. Most of the time I feel like it's me, or like a generalized version of me, if that makes sense, where it's just like zoomed out a little bit so it's more relatable to other people, you know, not getting into specifics of it, like, oh, just my experience. The only other time I did a song for My Hero Academia, and that was for a specific character was singing that song. I was the singing voice of this character. So that was the only other time that I've had something like this, besides theater, obviously. Yeah, so it was really cool. I really liked it. I'd like to get into like voice acting and that kind of thing.
Hell yeah, it's a journey. It's hard as hell, but all this stuff is hard. I mean, I think that's one of the most amazing things about your journey. I mean, you've been in a band since 2011, right? And not only that, but you're like on tour and you're cultivating your own projects, and, you know, you're traveling around Europe, and all this stuff is really hard. I mean, and people don't fully realize it. I mean, this is such a weird, heady question, but like, did it feel like a bit of catharsis where you were in something that is sort of grounded in its like sort of Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy as a franchise is what it is, with its various variations, but like, you know, I know your life is full of tumult. So like, was it kind of like, I don't know, weirdly grounding to be like, oh, a game that has been around for a while, even though I'm like literally in a new city every 3 days or whatever, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? That's a weird question, but
no,
it's an artist question.
It makes a lot of sense, especially for me as a gamer who, even though I didn't play a ton of Final Fantasy series growing up, it was a pretty omnipresent force, because a lot of my friends, all my friends are gamers in some way, shape, or form, right? So I had tons of friends who played. So since I was little, I've been, you know, it's always been there. It's always been something that I've known. And then to be part of it, it is a very steady thing. It's like, oh, this thing, you know, compared to while you're moving, especially literally recording it while on tour. Yeah. I recorded it across 3 different cities. So
that's so wild to me. It's so crazy. I mean, I remember my last gig, I was in France, and like literally like all I had, no one spoke English, and it was just me playing like the Division 2, like in my, you know, like sitting there, and everyone's like, wow, the glamour and stuff. But sometimes it's really nice to have a home base where, do you actively play games when you're on tour and stuff? Like you have your systems or whatever?
I try to. I usually do. I'll sit like the last 2 tours, I've been so busy, like I've had so much to do even beyond like work outside of just the tour itself, that I actually I haven't gamed a lot in like the last like 6 months, I feel like, because I've been so busy. But normally I do. I have my Switch, and I always bring a gaming laptop.
It's amazing. I mean, I think this is so cool. And really just to go back to your voice, it's just like it's really like impressive just how warm your tone is, and how you're able to, at the very up, I mean, I know I keep harping on this upper register. I also really like the B section for what it's worth, but like the B section is amazing because it's you know, that slower sort of, even though there's still that sharp rhythm, like it's really interesting to hear how you go from having a pretty relaxed, even though it's punched, you have a really relaxed like sound quality in the mid range, but the upper register, I'm just like really blown away by this belt that you have, because well, first of all, I can't do it, but second of all, like, I top out at like a B flat, but all of it's like operatic style, whereas it's so impressive for you because when you go up, it's clearly like up and you feel the range. But what's interesting is that it never sounds like you're hitting the ceiling. Like you'd probably go up another third or fourth, but then it still manages to have a full tone. This isn't a question. It's just like, I'm just actually kind of impressed. It's like actually mind blowing.
I worked really hard on it too. Like it wasn't something that it's like, oh, this is so easy. It comes so naturally. But I think in the work of it, I feel what you're saying, where it's like once I'm up there, it all feels the same anyway. It doesn't feel like the marginal steps get smaller and smaller. It feels like they all kind of have the same amount of space then at that point.
That's amazing.
I'm not very great on the technical side. Like I don't know what my highest belt note is.
Well, let's find out. Where's the piano?
One of the things is I actually have to, like, I've done it with my vocal coach before, but then I just always forget. And I just, because people will be like, what's your high note? And I'm like, I don't know. Beats me. Depends on the day, right?
Yeah. And that's the other thing that people don't realize is that, you're only as good as the day that you show up. So it's a very funny thing. Like one day is amazing and the next day you're like kind of hoofing it through.
I love when I feel really good in a studio and I record a song super high and then we get to rehearsals for the tour and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? And there are songs that we actually play a half step higher live, which people usually go a half step lower. Usually it's for like stupid things like guitar changes. Like, oh, it'll be easier for guitar changes. I can play these two songs back to back if we play it a half step higher. And I'm like, what about the vocal changes?
Your larynx is like coming out of your mouth. It's awesome. So I guess, to wrap this up, really, like, aside from this incredible opportunity with Soken and working on this wonderful track, which is really like such a fantastic anthem, like what else do you have coming down the pike? I mean, I know that you're going on tour here pretty soon in the fall, right? What else is going on?
For my solo project, I have a full EP coming out, so I'm really pumped about that. The next single is coming, and then the full EP will be coming out and celebrating that on tour and playing that on tour, which is really exciting. And then I've got a couple other things I'm really excited about. There's a organization that I really am passionate about called the Startlight Children's Foundation that brings like joy and games to children in hospitals who have to live in hospitals for extended periods of time because of illnesses. And so I've got a couple of things coming up with them, which I'm really excited about because they're amazing. So I just spoke at a Comic-Con panel with them last week. And so that I'm also really pumped for.
Wow, that's amazing. You're like doing all these awesome things. And it's amazing that you are really living the singer's like life. And it's a very hard road. And you seem like you really are like doing it, which is really, I commend you so much because as a person that did it and very quickly retired, I know that it's really difficult. So
it's okay. I retire mentally every single year and then somehow I'm still going. Every tour, especially when it's like a winter tour in Europe and it's like negative 85 degrees outside and I'm freezing and can't feel my toes. I'm like, this is the last one. And then I'm always back.
There's just something about singing that just like brings it out of us,
Yeah, I just love performing. It's my favorite thing.
There is something just so powerful about just giving it to the audience and getting that energy back, especially live in the moment, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just can't match it.
Well, Chrissy, listen, thank you so much for coming on here and I'm thankful that Square set this up for us so that we could chat about, this freaking
Thanks for having me.
Dope song. Yeah, of course.
Wait, so where does Meatball come from?
That's my last name. So I take offense, first of all.
Is it actually your last name?
God, no. It's in 10th grade. Cool. In 10th, could you imagine if my last name was Meatball? That would be absolute madness.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be like, no, in 10th grade, I was sitting next to a kid in class, Curtis, and he was like, it'd be funny because we were talking about wrestling. We were really, really into wrestling back then. And he was like, you would have an amazing wrestling name if it was Marco Meatball. And I was like, yeah. Well, and I was like, is he just calling me fat? But all right, yeah, word. So fast forward, and it just like became my gamer handle. And then I started this channel 2 years ago, and I was just like, well, of course it's going to be Marco Meatball. It's really funny when I'm on like a professional Zoom call or like I'm meeting somebody for the first time, and the first thing that pops up is Marco Meatball. Like I did an acting class.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Make an impression. Also, my dad calls me Meatball. Like, so that's why when I saw that, I was just like, I wonder where the meatball came from. I like the extended Meatball universe lore.
Yeah, we're all related somehow. Well, Chrissy, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. And feel free to definitely check out Chrissy's. I'll put all her information in the about section. Support her on tour. Look at her website, see where she is, and support the EP and God, everything else, all the millions of things that she's doing. And thanks again, Chrissy. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thanks for
having me. See you, everybody. Of course. Bye. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to spend some time and chat with Chrissy Costanza. And of course, if you want to play and listen to the Raid series, you can absolutely do that right now by hopping into Dawn Trail and checking that out for yourself. That's the Arcadian Raid series. What's also really cool is that Chrissy's song here will also be featured on the Primals album that's coming out, featuring a whole bunch of other awesome tracks from Final Fantasy XIV, which is really, really exciting. And man, I can't wait to hear that myself. So as always, thanks a ton, everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye.